Hello and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Bachad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion in the handgunning world. This week, we finally do the 1890 to 1900 loadout entries that we've received, and we have a couple of special guests here as well to talk about some of them. As always, Handgun Radio is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. Please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high-quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. There are a bunch of different cool artist proof renditions that come along with the patches, so be sure to check those out. And actually, a couple of the Patch of the Month patches are going to be the prizes for the 1890s loadout contest from my personal collection. So we'll see how those go. As always, shop Amazon using our affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And please help support Handgun Radio. Head over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. Click on HGR, and there are a bunch of different pledge levels, and we really appreciate the support. So we're kind of going to skip the week in review because we have a couple of special guests here, and we're also going to be discussing all the entries for the 1890s loadout contest. Special guests, why don't you say hi to the viewers?
Continue recording. Hey, how y'all doing?
Oh, we had a crisis here on the TV.
Yeah, well, the football game came back on. We had it on pause. Yeah, this is Hickok45 and Son coming to you from Nashville, and we're pleased to be here. And we want to say hi to we want to say hi to both of your listeners. Okay. Yeah, or do you have more than two listeners?
I think currently there's two viewers, but the link has just gone out on Facebook, so I think there may be a few more.
Oh, okay, good. A lot of listeners, and we appreciate your listeners, our viewers. There's a lot of overlap, I'm sure. Anyway, we appreciate all those folks up there in your part of your neck of the woods or wherever they are.
Well, we share a lot of the same listeners because I think a lot of our listeners share the same taste that you have in terms of we've talked before about fine whiskey, fine cigars, and fine wheel guns.
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap there. Yeah. My quick week in review, we made jerky, had ice tray AK-47 bullets. A friend of mine got me for Christmas.
Did you have some?
The AK-47 ones, yeah.
You did, yeah. Weerd. I sent a picture to Weerd, and he goes, "Did they come out good?" I don't imagine that they would have. They actually came out better than I thought, but they melt awful quick.
Oh yeah, they're long and skinny. Yeah. Well, those are good for dropping into a water bottle.
I was trying to make some fancy picture, like, oh yeah, look at all the AK-47 bullets I have in my whiskey before the show, but didn't work out. So Weerd, real quick, what's your drink segment? And actually, it kind of applies to what we're about to talk about.
I did it specifically for. I've actually got a ton of stuff to talk about. I actually got an early birthday present from Maine, and I'll talk about it next week. But for this one, because you showed me, they had a from Red Dead Redemption. There was you sent me the is it Saint Denis? Is that how they pronounce it?
That's how they pronounce it in the game. It was funny as hell because I'm playing the game and I'm just like around the train station. Like I said with Hickok, I love just exploring, and I see this like pickup pamphlet icon. So I press the button, pick up the pamphlet, and you can zoom in and read it. And I'm looking at the bottom of it. It says the Saint Denis Sazerac. And all I could think of was like, oh, Weerd used to like this. So I snapped a picture with my phone and I sent it to him. And he was like, that's actually spot on and actually kind of interesting.
It's really cool because so the Sazerac is often considered one of the oldest cocktails. It's super gloomy on where what comes from, but you could certainly say when you look at the recipe, the one I've got right now, I've got 2 ounces of rye. You can also use brandy or bourbon. I'll talk about that in a little bit. A few dashes of absinthe. I'm using Pernod instead because it's the amount you're using. The difference between absinthe and Pernod are so close. And a few dashes of Peychaud's bitters, and you serve it in a small rocks glass, which is kind of weird. I think it's better in a cocktail glass, or put it in a regular rocks glass and put ice in it. Works out fine. And a twist of lemon. So now what's interesting is that recipe is very, very close to an old fashioned. And the reason why an old fashioned is called an old fashioned is way, way back in the day, we're talking pre-prohibition. Essentially, that was what you would do is you'd have your spirit, you'd put some sugar in it. And the traditional one asks for some sugar. I don't like my drinks that sweet. So I just use a little bit more of the Pernod rather than the sugar. But you'd put your sugar, you'd have your bitters, and you'd have your spirit, and then sometimes some sort of fruit garnish added to it. And so once the old fashioned came back into the limelight after Prohibition, they started calling it the old fashioned cocktail because that was how cocktails used to be made. And so Saint Denis, you told me that's the New Orleans. I haven't played Red Dead. That's the New Orleans tie-in.
What would you say, John? That's roughly like,
yeah, that's what
New Orleans.
Definitely based on, yeah.
Yeah, because the Sazerac originates in New Orleans, and in this here it says cognac or rye whiskey if cognac is difficult to find, which is 100% correct. Cognac, because was a French colony, they would be obviously having brandy coming in quite readily. But as far as America goes, in pre-Prohibition, rye was the whiskey to be had, and it really wasn't until after Prohibition that bourbon really took off. And so absinthe, which is of course a French liqueur, or it is a liqueur, I don't know. And then cane sugar, and then said bitters from the local apothecary. So there's the interesting thing. If you wanted to get bitters, originated as a medicine, and people just started mixing it with their booze, just as a way to make it go down smoother. But all the bitters were done as concoctions and snake oil and that sort of stuff. So it was a very, very interesting thing that it was on there, because that is, as far as I know, I'm not a spirits historian by far, but everything that I have read, that is right on par with how a Sazerac would be presented back in like the 1890s.
It just goes to kind of show you the detail. I mean, John can attest to this. You literally can go through the game and search drawers and cabinets, and find pamphlets and look at them and read them. They're not just like gibberish. It's not just something they threw in as a placeholder. Like, you look at the newspapers, there are 5 or 10 articles in one paper.
Yeah, that's why it took them 9 years to make that game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's phenomenal.
Perfect. So with that, we will head into the main topic, the 1890s loadout episode. So we're going to start this out. Here are the contest rules. We've talked about them a little bit before. We're not choosing whether anyone's loadout is good or bad. It's everybody just sent it in. Everybody.
Oh, come on, let's bash them.
We are judging you. We're just not going to say it on the podcast.
It is going to be a random choice. We'll choose at the end. 1890 to 1900 will be accepted. Now, I think there should be a little bit of leeway, because I think some of the gun companies, and correct me if I'm wrong, some of them would be the model 1900, but it may have been available for sale in late 1899.
Now, I probably haven't read your notes, and now I was assuming you're trying to get at what people would their loadout would be. They would carry if the year was 1895 or 1898, for example, right?
Anything up to that time.
Yeah. Okay, so it didn't have to come about in the 1890s.
Right.
Okay, so good.
So the cutoff was 1900. So, like, if you wanted to, you could have carried the
percussion revolver. Yeah.
Percussion revolver if you wanted to.
Yeah, matchlock. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Just like many people today carry that 1950s era carbine. That what was that? That Armalite something 15. I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
right. Thing that
yeah, those are classic guns.
Oh yeah, I think those 911 pistols. I think they're in black powder.
Yeah. Okay.
So just to be safe, in case you guys have to head off later on, we will let you go first. So, Hickok, I think you should be first, because
man,
boy,
no big surprise on me. Of course, and I've thought about these things through the years. John and I have even talked about it. It would Now, are we talking about what rifle would I carry, what pistol, what shotgun, more or less?
So the way we set it up was pistols, both main sidearms and maybe an offhand sidearm.
Okay.
Backup pistols if you decided to have one. Rifle, shotgun, and then if you wanted to, you didn't have to, but how you would dress. Now, me personally, I liked those. I really loved the Butch Cassidy bowler hat with the nice fancy suit kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my choice.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
So if you want to, you could say how you would dress too.
Yeah. Yeah, I would want a good hat. I know that a good hat that's not too heavy, one that keep the sun off. But beyond that, the choice of firearms is partially dependent on what you're doing. What is your job? Are you a cowboy? Well, you wouldn't be driving cattle probably in the 1890s, but if you're heading off into the mountains, or you're going to be traveling across the desert, or if you're on foot, of course. So you got all those, of course, criteria. But I won't get too deep into all that. But I would, no surprise, I would carry a Colt single action, even though in the 1890s there were some other firearms and even semi-automatics available. But I just like a good old Colt single action 45 is what I would carry. The barrel length, again, would depend on what I was doing. If I was just hanging out mostly in some town, playing cards and that kind of thing a lot, I would want a short barrel one maybe. But if I was off into
remember, you can carry a backup gun.
Yeah, I would want the long barrel for more range and sight radius and all that kind of thing, even power. But then I might carry a backup, a smaller, like a bird's head. I don't know about it. I wouldn't be big on Derringer, but I would carry maybe something. And I'm not sure, tell you the truth, something like a model was an 1849, the percussion revolver. Y'all familiar with that?
Yeah.
Something like that in a more modern, pistol, but something of that size as a backup. And then for a shotgun, I would probably stick with a double barrel, even though the 1897 is a great shotgun. There were other, the pump shotgun. I'm probably going to go with a double barrel. I still consider the 1897 kind of a finicky shotgun, even though a lot of people love it. And then for my rifle, okay, same thing. My two first loves, I would carry either an 1886. Probably 45-70, and then or an 1892 4440 probably. And again, it would depend on whether I was on horseback. If I was carrying that sucker, I wouldn't probably be carrying the 1886 big old heavy rifle that it is, even though I love it. But if I'm on horseback and I'm not going to be packing it for 10-mile treks, I would stick with the 1876 probably, or 1886. It would handle about anything. But if I were going to be climbing rocks and climbing the mountain, and I'm not going to have my horse with me, and I'm not going to have John to carry my guns for me or whatever, I might just go with the 1892 4440.
I think you'd have two big decision points there. So number one, do you want ammo compatibility between the two? So your handgun and your rifle. And number two, are you using the same rifle to hunt big game that you're also using for self-defense? Because that's kind of, all those parameters are, how much hunting are you going to be doing? Are you going to have to be doing? Right. You're not going to be shooting a bison or something with a 4440.
Yeah, so it really does depend on where you are in the West and, just what you are likely to be doing or encountering. And of course, the 1886 is a good hedge on all that because it'll handle, about anything. So you wouldn't be limited with that. Yeah. But, and then, like you say, the combination, it's very inviting to have the 4440, in both your handgun and in the 92. That would be a consideration, but I just really like the 45 Colt, the added power of it. And I would probably forego that and just have the 2 different cartridges, and unless I was carrying the 1886, which would matter anyway.
Well, I'll admit that, I'll admit right now, I do not know this, and it's kind of embarrassing. But did they offer the lever action rifle in 45 Colt at that time?
No, that's a newer thing. The rim on the 45 Colt, it was even smaller back then, and it didn't work. You know, in the Schofield, even the Schofield round, I think had a bigger rim than the 45 Colt. It was just not conducive to extractors and lever action extractors and all that kind of that thing. And then plus the part of it was just the fact that it was Colt, and Winchester didn't want to have a Colt cartridge, and a lot of reasons there, I think. But yeah, the rim is just a little bit bigger in the modern cartridges, and all these 1892s now are chambered in 45 Colt, which is great, but they were not at the time.
So if you're going for a dress, what are you thinking? A little bit more city-fied or a little bit more country-fied?
Again, it would depend on where I am. I'm not one to dress up much, so right, John. So I'd probably be pretty casual, very practically dressed. I do like a good hat. I'd want a good hat, though, something that would really could drink or water my horse from, and something to keep.
That's a lost art. The art of the hat.
Yeah. Something that would last, and it would again not be too heavy. It would keep the rain off of me pretty well, and all that. In fact, I like the the hat that you see in the very few pictures of Hickok. That's a pretty cool hat. When I was doing cowboy shooting, I kind of looked for one of those, never could find one to fit my big head. Although I didn't go by the name Hickok when I was doing cowboy action shooting, but I like that hat that I see him in. And something like that would be a practical hat.
So, John, I am interested to see what your thoughts are, especially since you've played the game pretty extensively. I can tell, obviously. I don't know. Some of the listeners, I've had emails from people like, I know what the game is. I've seen it on TV. I've seen the advertisements. It's cool. I would love to play it, but I've never actually played a video game.
Yeah.
Like with a PS4 or something like that.
Right.
Are you on PS4 or Xbox?
I'm on PS4.
Okay. So you and I are on the same system then.
Okay, cool. We'll have to get on a posse sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a weird name. I'll have to send it out to you.
Okay. I'm just John JOHN _ Hickok on there.
I'm M1CH4D. Okay. I tried to be all funny about it.
My loadout would be different than what I would do in the game.
Online or single player?
What now?
Well, online is crazy because you actually have to have $1 million to try to buy anything.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll just stay with single player. So if it was 1890 to 1900, what would you carry?
Yeah, like that's what I was going to say. My loadout would be different than what's available in the game. Like, for example, I guess Dad picked the 92. I'm going to go with the 1886. I've always felt like if I was around back in those days, 1886, 45, 70, I'll deal with the weight. It's the AR-10 of the West. I plan on making enemies. I need it.
Right.
Kill buffalo with it. Angry people, whatever you got to do. So that's my rifle, and then shotgun. If I'm around those days, I'm gonna go with the 1897 with the barrel cut down to be flush with the magazine. I agree that they were finicky, but at that time, that's the pump shotgun, better capacity. I'll figure out a way to make it work for me.
Stay out of the mud.
Yeah, exactly. I'll make it happen one way or the other. So that's a shotgun, and then pistol. One that's conventional and one that's unconventional. So first, I would carry on my hip. I would carry a Colt single action 4 3/4, 45 Colt. And then at cross draw, I would carry. And this one's kind of weird. I would carry a trapdoor Springfield in 45-70 that's been cut down into a handgun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I've seen one, by the way, and one day I will get one.
Yeah.
I got to find out what the legalities are on that.
I have to tell you, I was super disappointed that they did not include, because you remember in the first game in RDR1, they included, it wasn't a 1903 Colt, that it was supposed to kind of be one.
Yeah.
I wish they would have included like one of the earlier Colts with an actual slide.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Even in 32, they could have said it was whatever.
Right.
But there was like the FN 1900. And then that would have been nice to include.
Yeah. Also, I feel like, I mean, it's neat to see the 1866 and the Henry in a video game like that, because it's not, those aren't guns that get a lot of, at least the 66, a lot of publicity mainstream wise. But really, the 92 or the 86, you know, is something that, or the 73 is more of what people would have had at that time.
Right. And the one thing I don't understand is as to why they wouldn't just name them the right things, because like I think one's called the Litchfield, the other one's called something else.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, a lot of
those companies aren't around to sue them.
Some people said, well, see, here's the thing, like people have said it's because of that. You think the gun companies would want, you know, they would be on board with it because they'd want the publicity. My theory is that it could actually, unfortunately, come from an anti-gun angle. It could be they don't want, their thinking is like, we don't want to give the gun companies any extra advertisement. You know,
could be, but it'd been so simple to call the 1866. They wouldn't even have to call it the Winchester. Just call it the 1866 or something.
True.
That'd have been historically, you know, kind of accurate. And yeah, those names are kind of strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same way back when I played GoldenEye back in the day. They used to, the PP7.
Walther PP7.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if it was Walther.
It's PP7.
PP7, I think.
Yeah. PP7. So, I mean, yeah, it's been weird. It's been very strange, but
by the way, John, I believe if you found a trapdoor, I don't think they made any after 1900, but that was a true 19th century trapdoor. I don't think the ATF could, again, I'm not a lawyer. Don't put your faith in somebody you heard on the internet, but it's not considered a firearm by ATF. I mean, you can buy one online and have it mailed right to your house. So I think you could technically cut it down and it wouldn't be a problem because it's not a gun. It'd be no different than cutting down a BB gun.
Yeah, but you can't do that with you can't buy like an 1895 shotgun. And
I think they still fall under some of those laws because
we did look it up. And again, if somebody knows, put it in the on the Facebook page or send us an email. I'm really curious.
I would prefer almost to find someone who could just make me one because as a pistol, it would be totally legal. So I almost rather just find someone, make me one as a pistol, versus go through the NFA stuff and have it one cut down, you know.
Yeah, because I've got an 1886 that was made in 1886, and I know I can't legally cut that barrel off to say 15 inches. I'd be in the federal pen, I think.
So I got one more question after we discuss your dress, John. But so what would you dress in? What's your chosen outfit for the game?
Bandolero has to be. You know, at least one, possibly two.
like a Mexican bandito.
Yeah. And hat wise, I'm thinking like something doesn't stand out too much, something that's light, you know, something light, comfortable, not too flashy.
I'll have to send you the picture of what mine is. I'm pretty sure I've gone with like the fanciest suit that I can go with the bowler hat and a cross draw holster with all like I try to use like the most modern semi-automatic, so I'm a turn of the century man.
Oh yeah,
you would enjoy doing cowboy action shooting. You really would.
Imagine if you could do cowboy action shooting with a bore shot and a Mauser.
Yeah.
No. Be interesting.
But you'd enjoy the dress up probably and shooting and everything.
So John, the one thing that I want to talk to you about, especially since you are someone who has played the game, the varmint rifle, which is an 1890 Winchester pump action.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I think, and in 22 long rifle.
It's one of those guns I've seen at gun shows a million times, but I've never
What
messed
caliber
with
is it?
one.
What-
22.
Oh, okay.
The 22 pump action holds 14 rounds.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a Model 90.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Winchester model 1890 slide action 22. They made 849,000. Wow.
Yeah.
I would.
Is that the gallery gun that was used in so many of the shooting galleries, I think? Yeah.
That's actually one of the very underrated guns in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't used that one much. I like the big boomers.
You can use, well, the thing is with that gun, it has 14 rounds. You can use Deadeye and get God knows how many hits.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, the Henry has, I think, a similar capacity in the game.
Right. Yeah, it's very funny to use that, but
yeah.
Does the game, does the 22 have as much impact, like taking out bad guys, or
not actually? The 22 will wound them.
it just wounds them? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but they'll run off and do whatever.
Yeah,
Makes them mad.
Someplace else to die.
Yeah.
Dynamite is my favorite trick in that game. I'm telling you, like a well-placed stick of dynamite can make a huge difference in that game.
That's true in real life as well.
Yeah.
The first thing that John did when he got the dynamite was go out and figure out where to lay it for the wagons to come across the bridge.
Well, online too, the dynamite has been great to push back against. I'm familiar with the term they call them griefers, where people just just give you a hard time. I tell you, I put some of those people in their place with the dynamite. Like I've literally made them just give up on me.
Yeah, they just come around and just cause you grief. If you're just trying to mind your own business, they'll be hassling you and everything else.
Yeah. But I will say when I first got the dynamite though, I was a grade A griefer at first because there was like, I guess they were all in a posse together. I don't know, but there was a bunch of real players all like hanging out in this one spot. Like, I don't know what they were doing, but I just came riding in fast and hard and just threw a stick of dynamite in the middle of it. It blew them all up.
Well, you fellas are welcome to stay on the show. We're going to discuss the listener emails that came in. I know you got your game going, so you're more than welcome to head out as well. So it's up to you.
Yeah, well, we got the grandson, the son here, and the ball game going. So I guess we better bow out.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you guys coming on the show and talking about this stuff with us. And
yeah, it's great to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to meet you, John. Finally, I've heard a lot about you and kind of met you here on the show. I didn't expect to do that, so that was awesome.
Yeah, good to meet you. I'm trying to get my podcast back up and running again, so I have to have you guys on.
Yeah, absolutely. We will definitely be in touch, but you guys enjoy the game, and thank you for your entries. And we will be sure to talk later.
And wear them while we watch the ball game.
All right, you guys. Have a good night.
Okay, man. Good talking to
you guys.
See ya.
I don't care what everybody else says. They're nice guys.
They're awesome. So we are still live here, and our first entry, John F. You ready, Weerd?
I'm ready. By the way, we can talk about mine because
yours is at the end.
Okay, mine's beautiful. Just making sure.
Both of ours are at the end.
All right, awesome.
John F. I would go with an FN 1900 with a Derringer backup. My dress would be dress pants and a shirt with vest and pocket watch. Anyways, keep up the great work.
Yeah, gotta love the original Browning pistol.
The FN 1900 looks like an upsized 1903 with a long slide.
Mm-hmm.
Looks great.
Yep.
And I love the dress pants and the dress shirt.
Yeah.
That's my choice. I don't know. I'm not the cowboy hat, rugged farmhand type.
Well, we'll get into how I'm going to dress later.
All right, you read the next one.
All right, so Timothy W. Here's my 1899 loadout. I'm going to go cutting edge with the Smith & Wesson 1899 hand ejector. Ooh, very good. That's the predecessor in 38 special. That's the predecessor to the Model 10. Probably 6-inch in a shoulder holster. And for my rifle, I'll go with a Winchester 1895 in a carbine length, chambered in 30-40 Krag. Ooh, very nice.
It's good choices.
That's a very good choice. Yeah, especially like the 1895 and 3040. Did they, I don't know if they made them that way, but you can certainly get them that way. They both exist.
It was a heavier cartridge.
Yeah.
I would love my only change in his entry would be I would say like I would get the 1899 hand ejector and have a gunsmith cut the barrel down a little bit.
Nice.
I would want a little bit of a snub, like cut it to like a 1/10 or so up front of the lug.
Mm-hmm.
Like Patton's revolver.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one.
What is that? 3 inches?
Or what Jack Webb was carrying in Dragnet. Didn't he have he had a snub nose Model 10, didn't he?
I think so. What the hell was the guy's name? I'm searching on Google. Courthouse shootout wife 32 Colt. Oh, what the hell is it?
I don't even know what you're getting at.
It's an old gangster shooting, and I can't remember the guy's name, and it's making me very mad.
Let's just say Pretty Boy Floyd, because that's just such a good name.
Oh, Frank Hamer.
Okay.
That's what it was.
What's his story for me and everybody else who's listening who has no idea what you're talking about?
Oh, they're gonna find out soon. Frank Hamer. He was a Texas Ranger.
Uh-huh.
And he had a shootout in front of a courthouse with his wife. Not with his wife. His wife was protecting him as well.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he used to carry this big 44 that was cut off to like 3 inches.
Nice.
At one time, he was at court. He testified against someone, came out, and some friends of the person he testified against tried to kill him. And he pulled out a big 44 special that he used to carry all the time, 3-inch barrel, took out a couple people, and his wife was in his car waiting to pick him up. She pulled out a Colt 1903 and was dumping 32 rounds.
Nice.
At the guys trying to shoot him. And I'm looking for the story. I can't find it, but it was Frank Hamer. That was who I was thinking of. So if you can research it, send me an email with the link to the article, please. Thank you. I think it was Mas Ayub talking about it in his book, Greatest Handguns of the World.
Nice.
But discussing the 1903, he was talking about how Frank Hamer's wife pulled one out of the glove box or something like that and dumped the magazine at her husband's assailants in front of a courthouse in like Louisiana or something. So check that out. It's a good story.
Yeah.
Some woman in the 1930s dumping 32 rounds out of a 1903.
Well, that's right up there with the Savage pistols. Because they were straight up marketed as women's pistols, and they were double stacks.
That's right up there with the guy who dumped the friggin' what was that Ruger full out of the AC 5.56?
Yes.
Dumped that into the guy in front of the HK headquarters in Virginia, like in the early 90s, late 80s.
I actually don't remember that story.
Oh, you got to look that. Here's 2 stories you got to look up, Weerd.
All right, well, I will look them up.
Actually, Moss has a really good write-up on that one.
Okay.
He got into a bunch of heat for using a full auto.
Not as much heat as the guy that he sprayed down.
he was an HK sales rep, and they got chased by a biker gang.
And he pulled a Ruger.
and he had a bunch of full autos, and he pulled a Ruger. I believe it was a Ruger. And he didn't realize it was on full auto. The guy came at him with a firearm or a knife or something. And I believe the story was he didn't realize it was on full auto, but it just went off and just, yeah.
Well, there.
But yeah, Moss has a lot of good write-ups on those. I wish there was a catalog of all his writings he did for American Handgunner. And I'll probably get an email from Daniel saying, here's the catalog.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You want to read the next one? Michael A?
Yeah, Michael A. My late 1890s loadout, a Webley revolver in 455 and a shoulder holster. Love that. Oh, 455 is such a cool round, too. Lee Enfield Cavalry Carbine in 303. That's also especially not as cool moving forward. It was kind of an outdated round as far as World War II is going on, but back then that was pretty good stuff. Winchester 1890 pump rifle in 22. I think that's WRF. I think he meant Winchester centerfire. And gray window pane wool trousers with braces, vest and coat. Nice. Black wool flat cap. Brown leather paddock boots, brown linen pocket square. Got the pocket square. Oh, that's getting into some good detail. Pocket knife with horn grip, clip and Warncliffe blades, silver pocket watch, and a flask of schnapps. Oh, very well done. I hope that's German style schnapps and not the modern American crap. Enormous handlebar mustache. In the 1890s included because I have one in 22 WR. Is that Winchester Rimfire? That must be the name for one of the Winchester 22 shorts, I think. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with that term. Yeah, but he's got one of the 1890 pump actions.
Okay. Look at this. Here, we learned. This is great. This is a great episode for people learning something. Introduced
and people learning something is us.
Introduced the Winchester M1890 slide rifle. It had a flat nose slug and is identical to 22 Remington Special, which differed only in having a round nose slug. It uses a flat-based inside lubricated bullet, which differs from the outside lubricated slug of the 22 short, long rifle and extra long rounds.
It's a non-heeled bullet.
Yes. When introduced, the 22 WRF was the first notable improvement in the killing power over the 22 long rifle and was able to kill cleaner at up to 75 yards.
That makes sense.
It is somewhat less accurate than the 22 long rifle and is most suited to hunting small game such as rabbits or prairie dogs. Shortly before World War II, propellants were developed that greatly increased the effectiveness of 22 long rifle. These new high-velocity loadings offered a nearly 300 foot per second increase in velocity over the original 1050 FPS 22 long rifle load. This increase in power of the smaller round, coupled with its cheaper price and sheer number of rifles already owned in 22 LR, effectively killed the 22 WRF.
Nice.
I did not even know about this round or variation of this round.
Yeah, no, I assumed it was a typo, but then it came up the second time, so
I just learned something.
All right. Oh, by the way, I'm going to love the end. Enjoy your podcast. Thanks for producing content that isn't constant politics, plastics, or AR-15s. Well, that's what we aim to do, and I'm glad you enjoy it.
No, you know what we aim to do? We aim to learn things, and guess what we just did?
I didn't aim to learn things. You did. You did it against my will.
Well, I just kind of dragged you.
You did not have my consent.
You're like that person I dragged to school who wears the friggin'... You wear like the REO Speedwagon t-shirt thinking everybody's going to think you're popular, but you need to come to school and learn things. That's you.
That's totally me. Everyone who knows me will know that's the absolute truth.
No, that's awesome. That really is. So we have entry Ron B. This is probably as close to mine. Yeah, but anyway, Merwin and Hulbert Army model in 4440 carried in a shoulder holster under my wool coat. This model features the Skull Crusher tab on the end of the grip and is perfect for saloon fights. The opposite shoulder strap of my rig holds 12 additional 4440 rounds. On my left thigh, I'm a lefty, is a Winchester 1894 in the mare's leg configuration, also in 4440. I own a Rossi 94 Ranch Hand and 45 Long Colt, and this is my superb SBR, even though it's classed a pistol. Bullets are compatible with my Merwin and Hulbert, and the belt rig is looped for 12 additional cartridges. On my right hip is a 1896 broom handle Mauser in 7.63 millimeter. It's carried in the signature shoulder stock carrier holster. This rig carries an additional 10 rounds in the leather sheath for the wooden stock, in addition to the 10 rounds in the pistol. Number 4, I'm sporting fine leather cowboy boots, also handmade like the holsters and the gun belt. In my left boot is a 6-inch Bowie knife, and in my right boot is a Remington Derringer and 41 Remington 2-shot backup. Number 5, what was unique back in those days was the quality of the leather goods. Men's lives depend on holsters, belts, saddles, and such. My custom leather rigs ensure that I can move comfortably and secure my 5 weapons. I spend more time in town than on the open range. My open range guns are on my horse. The Merwin and Hulbert choice was inspired by an episode of Creepy magazine from my youth, and I heard Weerd refer to that comic before. Keep up the good work, Ron from Alabama.
All right, we're silently judging you, but that was awesome. Especially, I like the Derringer and the 41 Remington. Like, well played. That's right on the nose.
Often forgotten, but also, yes. What about the comic?
I don't know if I know this comic.
He heard you refer to it.
I don't know. Maybe he misheard me.
I don't often mishear you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm trying to remember it seems like something I would have read back in the day. But yeah. But I actually hadn't heard about the Merwin and Hulbert until recently. But either way, that's an excellent loadout.
That was phenomenal.
All right, well, I'm going to dive into Kevin G's here.
Go right for it, my friend.
All right, hope this finds you both well. I really like the show and enjoyed even more knowing you were from New England. Another New Englander. I've given a lot of thought to my loadout and enjoy having to think outside the box. This is something you should do more often on the show. Either way, here I go. I would carry a Colt single action Army and 45 Colt. First reaction is go with the Smith & Wesson Model 3, but after thinking about it, I'd want the single action Army due to the way the Model 3 breaks open and ejects spent cases. I was concerned over longevity and problems out in the field. So are a lot of people. There's a reason why the Schofield's kind of the odd duck, and there's like single action guns are all single action Army clones of some sort. Dirt, grit, moisture, and lack of cleaning gave me pause when it came to the reliability of this pistol. Since the cylinder stays within the gun, I have less concern over mechanical failures with the single action Army. Understanding that the Model 3 was utilized heavily by the cavalry and needed to be rugged, I'm still confident in my decision. For a rifle, I'd carried original Henry and 44 Henry after the Civil War, and since it would be out of production, there'd be surplus parts and rifles. With the new Winchesters being out in the 1890s, I'd have less competition for maintenance parts. Very good thinking. I'd ride a Haflinger horse due to their size and draft capabilities. I know nothing about horses. I don't even know if I'm saying it right.
I was so proud of this guy sending in this because, like, I know nothing about horses as well. So thank you very much. I hope I can use this like on an episode of Jeopardy or something later on in my life.
To do a line that somebody said, I love horses. If it wasn't for them, dogs would starve. I'd also have a dog. Nothing huge, but big enough to scare up big game, and cute enough to help me land some loose moraled women.
What if you could put a saddle on the dog? I mean, they make some big dogs.
I think it was either Stuff or I think it was Stuff magazine did a thing where they tried to see how many women they could attract interest in with various things, from having a guy wearing a pair of biker shorts with a cucumber down the front of it to somebody driving a Lamborghini around, and they had a small child, and a puppy was by far the biggest chick magnet as far as their study went. So well played.
Guess I need to get more dogs. Anyway, the horse.
Yes. Did you look something up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're finished. I actually want you to read the next one. That was awesome. Thank you, Kevin, for sending that in. The next one here is from a friend of yours, I believe.
Oddball. I never heard of her.
Yeah.
Also happens to be on the Assorted Calibers podcast. I figured I'd give you guys what I think around the 1900s. I decided to list first what I'd wear in the more civilized areas of the East and frontier in the West. For the East, I'd probably be wearing a three-piece suit, black leather shoes for outerwear. I'd have a bowler hat, wool overcoat for cold weather. I would have a pocket watch on a chain in my vest pocket, and probably a two-blade pen knife in a pocket. I also might change from day to day. Ask Weerd about my knife habit. He talks a lot about knives on our podcast. As far as defense goes, I'd like to carry a Schofield, probably in 4440, which I actually just asked him before the show. I'm like, did they make them in 4440? And he said, yes, they did. I really only knew about them in 45 Schofield. In a shoulder holster, and of course I was considered a poor taste at the time to carry openly, I'd have a Smith & Wesson Model 2 and 38 Smith & Wesson in my pocket. When I couldn't comfortably carry the Schofield as a backup, I would also carry a cane made of hardwood with a brass knob. Also being in the frontier, the firearms wouldn't change much. I'd still go with the Schofield, this time definitely in 4440 to match the ammo on my lever gun, either an Winchester 1873 or Marlin 1874. Whichever I could get the best deal on. Be carried on my right side in a belt holster on a gun belt. This way I could easily remove it when entering areas that frowned upon carrying. On the left side of the gun belt, it would be a Bowie knife, just to change things up a bit. I'd have a Marlin 38 standard and 38 Smith & Wesson carried in a vest pocket or a boot, and have a small boot knife in the other boot. When it comes to clothes, the other things I'd probably wear is a button-down shirt, vest, jeans, and boots. I also wear a Stetson and a duster when the weather called for it. And I'd have a pocket watch on a chain in my vest pocket, and definitely have a stockman's knife also riding in a pocket. Thanks for the interesting thought experiment. Hope you guys are having a good day.
Look at the picture I posted in the show notes. The guy with the top hat is who I think Oddball would be.
I think that would work.
His name is Trelawney, and anybody who's played the game knows what I'm talking about. But that is like basically the Trelawney character. Top hat, awesome mustache, super cool suit.
Yep.
All right, Dave D. And this guy's actually, Dave also sent us an email, I think last episode, talking about the stuff growing on your lead bullets, discussing that. So he says, thank you for your work on the podcast. As usual, running behind, so listen to episode 220. My turn of the century loadout would fall into one of three categories. My most likely situation is a farmer somewhere in the southeast U.S. Normal clothes would be a union suit, linen or cotton shirt with cotton duck or denim pants held up with suspenders. In this situation, I would probably have one gun, as affording a collection would be hard. If I had a rifle, it would be an old, heavily used 1873 Winchester and 3220, but the handgun option would be a Smith & Wesson safety hammerless and 38 Smith & Wesson carried in a plain leather belt and simple holster, or just shoved into a pocket. The second scenario I thought of was a frontier loadout. If I was a hunter or trapper west of the Mississippi, logistics would dictate a lot of what I chose. Clothing would likely be a combination of buckskin, denim, and wool. Trapping or smaller game hunting loadout would be an 1894 Winchester and a Colt new service revolver, or a Remington model 1890 and 4440. If I was hunting large game, I would swap out the Winchester for a trapdoor Springfield in 4570. Most times my pack mule would carry the rifles, but the pistol would be in a leather flap style holster or on an ammo belt carried on the waist. My money is no object, since the scenario finds me as a gentleman of leisure in Philadelphia or New York. Sorry, this is his new scenario. I made several fortunes in absinthe import market.
Well played.
I made several fortunes in the absinthe import market, wink to Weerd, and I'm decked out in tailored suits and a top hat. Bowler hats are not my cup of tea. My main gun would be a Browning M1900, thank you very much, in 32 ACP. It would be nickel plated and ornately engraved. I would carry it in a shoulder holster, those tailored suits being designed to conceal. And my backup piece would be a 2-shot Derringer and 41 rimfire, also highly engraved but carried in a vest pocket.
Well played.
I really like I've made several fortunes in the absinthe import market.
I mean, so Sazeracs get made somehow.
That's really good. A very good nod to Weerd. Thank you very much. So the time has come. We're almost about to wrap up, and you and me are left. So Weerd, you haven't written yours down, so I'll let.
No, I haven't. I didn't actually see it. I'll write it down after we're done. I'll surprise you.
Well, I'll let you go first. You go.
All right. So, so my sidearm. So first up, let's just go with the dress. I think in this situation, I would definitely be in the more outdoorsy of career fields. Either I'd be handling livestock of some sort, or maybe even like cutting timber, that sort of stuff. And then, like myself today, pretty much all my disposable income would be going into booze and firearms. So I've got a few different gun ideas. Specifically, since handgun reloading was fairly slow, so people carried a lot of them. I kind of had three different handguns that came up. It was kind of like a large, medium, and small. The large one would be a Merwin and Hulbert Model 3, probably the Frontier model, in 4440. And then the medium would be a Smith & Wesson safety hammerless in 38 Smith & Wesson, the old top break safety hammerless. I love those guns. And then then the Merwin and Hulbert would be the double action version as well. And then as kind of a deep concealment small gun would be a Smith & Wesson Model 1 in 22 short. It seems to be like one of the smallest and coolest guns to have around. 22 short's not a lot, but you get 7 shots of it. And back in those days, it would work out well. Rifle, I've got kind of divided up into 2 sets, full rifle and a carbine. The carbine would be a Colt Lightning carbine in 4440 to match the Merwin and Hulbert, and I think that's just a good round that'll get a lot done. But if I needed a little bit more power, I'd go with a Remington rolling block in 4570. Or maybe even something bigger, like 50-70 or something like that. I'm not really sure of like what the popularity of the different rounds were. Could be 45 110, but one of those standard standard black powder cartridge loads for something if I needed a little bit more range or something to hit a little harder. And I really like the rolling blocks for their simplicity, and they're really quick to load and unload. Even though they're single shot, and then for a shotgun, I think I'd just go with like a double barrel, and I'd gravitate. I think I'd go towards 10 gauge just because I'm not much of a shotgun guy, and so I think I appreciate the versatility of a shotgun, and a 10 gauge would be by far like the most versatile thing on earth. And you don't hear a lot about 10 gauge these days because they don't make so many of them. But back then there was a lot more 10 gauge going around. And so 10 gauge, I mean, you could load that sucker up with slugs and kill an elephant, or you could fill it up with bird shot and you could shoot little birds and rabbits and such. So yeah, and I'd just be have just a nice hat to keep the sun off and all that, and then just pretty much just like dungarees and flannel and that sort of stuff of just the utilitarian clothing stuff that's stuff that's going to have a lot of wear resistance, stuff that you could throw patches on. I'm not much for fancy clothes because I end up wrecking a lot of my clothes. So something that I could patch up and deal with, and it's not going to look out of place. You got a nice wool suit and with a patch on it. My old suit, I tore the leg on it, and it was had a local tailor patch it, and they did a good job on it, but you could see it every time I wear it. That was all I could see in those pants was where that patch was.
For a shotgun, I want whatever Roger Moore used in A View to a Kill.
Oh, it was loaded with rock salt. What was that?
I want to say it was an Ithaca.
I think it was.
I don't know. It was whatever what's her face had.
Yeah. Oh shoot, I forget the.
You can't even remember her name. You're a big James Bond fan, aren't you?
Oh, I know. She was doing ads for Tanya Roberts, was it?
Yeah, it's probably like Stacy Dogood or something.
Oh, what her character's name was? I don't keep track of the Bond girl names. Oh, that's awful. They've always got. I'm embarrassed on their names.
All right, so
Stacy Sutton, played by Tanya Roberts, Remington Model 31 pump.
31?
Yeah. I'm actually not familiar with that one.
Was that some Sears brand?
I don't know.
I'm curious now. Thank you for bringing this up, Weerd.
See there, now you're learning something more about Tanya Roberts and
Remington Model 31 is a pump-action shotgun and competed with a Winchester 1912, produced from 1931 to 1949. It was replaced by the less expensive to manufacture 1870. So it was a predecessor to the 870.
Nice.
Well, see, you learned something.
Oh man, there's another Remington Model 1. One of Zoran's guys has got a little riot gun configuration of it.
So apparently before the 870, the 31 was the Remington to have.
Well, there.
Yeah. All right. So my Lodo, everybody's waiting for this here.
Of course they are.
Merwin and Hulbert in 4440 with a 4-inch barrel as a sidearm. Other sidearm. I think you'll like this, Weerd. Snubby Colt Thunderer, model 1878 double action with a cutoff barrel in 4440.
Would your Merwin also be double action?
Or
single action?
Yes, double action.
Yeah, we're both in love with double action.
Yeah. Shotgun 1897 Winchester pump.
Mm-hmm.
Rifle would be a Winchester 1892 and 4440. And I included a backup gun.
Mm-hmm.
Webley Bulldog in 442.
I'm actually not familiar with the 442.
It's a little short, like 44 round.
You wouldn't go with the what was it, 3840?
No, it was the gun that was used to kill James Garfield.
Okay.
If you look that up, you can hear more on it. It's a little tiny, short, snubby revolver.
Yep. Yeah. No, those little the smaller bulldogs were neat little concealment revolvers.
And then we've talked a little bit about it on the show before now, but my dress would be the bowler hat. I've posted a picture of it before, but it's kind of like the real thin tie you would see. What do they call it? The bolo tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have the real thin black tie and the nice vest and the suit and everything.
Well, that's the tie that's got the two little corded ends, right? That's the bowler tie.
Okay, so that's not that. It's the one they would wear in like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, that's a 1980s tie.
Not like the cowboy tie.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
Like
the cowboy tie is the bowler tie. Yeah,
yeah, thin, narrow.
I got you.
Yeah, the Reservoir Dogs tie. That's what I'm
curious about the Westwood Model 59.
yeah. Back in 1890. No,
I would have Arnold Schwarzenegger come back in time and.
Hey, I could have gone as detailed as what would your facial hair be, and there were a couple of entries actually who did discuss that.
It's solidly neck beard.
Oh, I totally play. What the hell? Oh God. Yeah. No, just I would have a super cool mustache that I could curl at the end with the wax, whatever they have.
Which you can't do today because they'll confuse you for a hipster.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I really want to say thank you to Hickok and his son John.
Yes,
for
bonus.
coming on the show. We did not even expect that. We just found out last minute.
Yep.
So, thank you, John, very much for coming on the show. Weerd. Well, man, thank you for coming on.
I mean, I'm always on the show.
But so we have to pick the winners.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to make Weerd pick the winners. So that way.
I thought you said you were going to pick it at random.
Yeah, we're going to pick it at random. You're going to pick 2 numbers at random, and it's going to be your fault if the other people don't win.
All right. Well, what's our, how many numbers we got?
1 through 6. So you get to pick 1 and then the second one. So numbers 1 through 6.
All right. From random.org, the first number is 3.
So Ron, listener Ron, hold on. Let me look at the show notes. What was your last initial? Sorry. Ron B, you are the first winner. Email me handgunradio@gmail.com and we will send.
Don't you have his email? Because he emailed it to you.
Yeah, but he needs to listen to the show. I want people to listen to the show.
Oh, okay. Jeez, it just seems sorry, Ron, that Ryan is super lazy.
I'll send you. I have to play a gig tomorrow night. I have to play New Year's Eve.
Oh my goodness. Ryan has to go make money. He has to work for a living.
I have to play fabulous music for a lot of people. Do not disregard my efforts.
Your plight.
So, okay, so Ron B, you are the first winner. And the second winner, we said we'd pick 2 people. So Weerd, number 2.
The second number I have chosen, thanks to random.org, it is 5.
It's rigged. It's oddball.
Is it oddball? Don't give it to him.
Oh, to hell with it. Pick one more. We'll do 3.
Oh, I gotta go back.
Just since it's oddball.
Let's see. 6.
All right, Dave, Ron, and Oddball. You have won the 1890s loadout contest. Get in touch with me at handgunradio@gmail.com. And I
think Oddball's listening.
Well, I'm sure he's listening. That's
like
why
live.
Chose a third person, because you probably rigged the damn game.
Didn't rig anything. It's random.org.
I meant all 2.
Man, it happened to be, it was not rigged either. That happened to be Heinrich won the gun that we gave away on No Sweat and Caliber's podcast.
All right. So with that, we'll head to the wrap-up section and close out the show notes. Don't forget to shop Brownell. Don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link in the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and share it with your friends, and leave us a review on iTunes. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and more awesome content. And be sure to check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. And Weerd. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming on the show, I think.
You think?
Thank you for coming on. Sorry, hold on. Thank you for coming on the show. And where can people find more about you?
Your voice is giving up, bud.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you can find me at my blog, which is weirdworld.com. And I've got a podcast, Assorted Calibers podcast.
And I really appreciate all the things you have given us tonight.
Yeah, man.
It's been a good show. It's been a good time.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, we really want to say thank you again to Hickok and John unexpectedly actually coming on the show.
It's been so hard keeping that a secret. Well, I didn't know. Again, both of us didn't know about John coming on. That was an added bonus.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was trying to like not post on Facebook. Yeah, Hickok's going to come on too.
Come on, there's going to be other people besides us two losers that nobody wants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, come watch us. But we really, really appreciate John and Hickok coming on. It was phenomenal. It was good too because John, I've been inundating you with stuff about this game.
I've been enjoying it. It's not a bad thing. I
know you've been enjoying it, but to talk with John, who's also been playing it, it was good to have that interaction between everybody. Yeah, so we really appreciate it, and this is the last episode they're going to hear into the new year.
Into the new year.
So, thank you for listening to Handgun Radio. We both appreciate it. Assorted Calibers podcast appreciates it.
Yes, we do.
And be sure to check us out in the new year.
It's going to be a different one.
So with that, until next week and next year, have fun and safe shooting.